Good afternoon and welcome to our CentreCharge 5 upgrade webinar. This webinar is going to take you through the steps in order for you to get your CentreCharge 5 database ready to upgrade to the CentreCharge 2012 database. The webinar will take approximately 45 minutes to complete and will be available for you to view at a later date on our YouTube site. On the right-hand side of your screen, you will notice you have a little window. This is where you can ask me any questions that you have on anything we cover today by either raising your hand or typing a box within the questions box. Can you all just raise your hands for me so that I can see that you can find that little button? Brilliant, fantastic. And if you take your hands down again for me? Fantastic, brilliant, thank you for doing that. Okay, so the steps that you need to make within your current CentreCharge system, you need to make sure that all of your orders, both rent and contract services, all have a license agreement start and end date. Okay, now there is a report that you can run in the system which will show you what orders do not have a start and end date. This report is called the Active Consolidated Rent and Contract Service Report. This can be found under Reports, Rent and Contract Service Reports, and then Active Consolidated Rent and Contract Service Report. What you'll need to do is you don't need to make any sort of selection of criteria or anything like that, unless you want to. You could do it by site if you wanted to, but I'm going to do it for all sites here. And if you just hit preview, this will load all of your current orders, so all of your live orders that haven't been ended. Okay, you can see there's my rent and there's my report, and you'll see you've got two columns here that say license start date and license end date. These are the fields that you need to make sure are filled in for every rent and contract service order that you have. You also need to make sure that the license end date is not, for example, this one is a good example. This has an end date of 2008. Now, if they are a live order, you need to make sure that you move this end date into the future. Otherwise, it could be marked in the system as an old license, an old order or agreement in the new system. So you need to make sure the license start and end dates are correct for every client, and make sure they do actually have them, because you can see here there's a gap there as well. Now, once you've run that report, print that out so you can see which license start and end dates you need to amend. And then to do that, to actually make the amendment itself, if you go into Orders, Rent or Contract Service, and then select your order, you'll see here that you've got an Order Details tab. If you select this, you can see under the Current License section, you've got a License Agreement Start Date box and a License Agreement Expiry Date box. These are the boxes that you need to fill in to, which will also populate that report. So these are the start of the agreement that you have with the client and the date that is due to end on. Now, if it is a rolling contract, so they don't actually have a sort of a fixed term contract and they're rolling, if you tick the uplift box here, that will just notify both systems that this is a rolling contract. Please do bear in mind, even if it is a rolling contract, that the expiry date is sort of in the future, past where you build up to. So, for example, if you have build up until the 30th of November, for example, your expiry date is not the 31st of October. So you would possibly need to put that either to the end of December or whenever you needed to put that to. Okay, and that is exactly the same process for your contract services as well. So you go back to Orders and Contract Services. Open up a contract service, exactly the same process. So you need to go into Order Details, make sure that the license agreement start and expiry dates are populated, and if it's a rolling contract, then obviously tick the uplift date. Okay, so once you're happy that you've made all those changes, rerun the Active Consolidated Rent and Contract Service Report so that you can make sure that all of your orders have been updated and are all correct. Once you've done that, the second part of getting your system ready is to make sure that your items are correctly set up. Okay, so to do this, go to Configuration and Items. I've grouped it by product group, so I've gone Group By and dragged up my product group header here, so that if I collapse all, I can see my product groups there. So, for example, license fee or office rental or whatever you call your, your offices, what product group they're under. If you expand this and open any office, you do need to make sure that they are ticked as a suite. Okay, so you need to make sure that every office that you have that is ticked as a suite within CentreCharge. There is if you see here, you have actually got a suite column header here. So if you just scroll through that quickly, you'll be able to see whether you've got any anomalies in there. The next items you need to check to make sure that they are set up correctly are your virtual office services. Okay, so under your virtual office or your virtual services product group, you need to make sure that every item, open up this virtual service full item here, you need to make sure that they're ticked as a virtual service. Okay, that's very important that you actually tick all your virtuals as a virtual service. Okay, so that's where you tick those. And then the final item that you need to check to make sure it's set up correctly is the deposit item. So if we find our deposit, we've got a product group here called deposit. So any deposit items that you have, whether it's a rent deposit or a virtual deposit or a key deposit, anything like any deposit item you have, you need to make sure that when you open that up, that it is ticked as a deposit item. Just as a deposit item, please don't tick it as anything else. It just only needs to be ticked as a deposit item. Okay, so once you've made sure that you've checked all of your, so you'll make sure all of your orders have got a license agreement start and end date, and you've run your active consolidated rent and contract service report, and there are no anomalies within that. You've also made sure that your items are, so your rent items are ticked as a suite, your virtual services are ticked as a virtual service, and your deposit item is ticked as a deposit item. You're then ready to actually have your system upgraded. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the new system so you can see the importance of making those changes within the new system, and if they're not correctly done, what impact they may have on your new system. Okay, so I'm just going to minimize that down and just select my. Okay, so this is our new CentreCharge system. As you can see, you've got a different look and feel completely. It's blue, you've got some new icons on there and everything like that. I'm not going to take you through exactly what which icon means. I'm just going to show you that the sort of licenses and how those start and end dates and items affect the new system. So rather than having rent and contract services orders within the new system, we've actually got what we call a licensing module. So the whole orders process is no longer, and certain next dates have been removed and things like that. They've all gone, and they've been replaced with this licensing module, which is a lot simpler to use. It's more straightforward and more user-friendly, really. So if we I've gone on to click on licenses here, and I'm just going to open up any activated license. So an activated license is a live and bidding license agreement. So that is a current agreement within the system. So I'm just going to get that to open up. Okay. And this is where the start and end dates that you've entered in CentreCharge, in your CentreCharge database, become really crucial, because you can see here that the licenses have got a start and end date here, and this is what the license module is based on, those start and end dates. Okay, you can mark the contract as a rolling contract, which links in with that uplift date as well within your current CentreCharge system, but those license start and end dates are crucial within this new system. So if they are incorrect in CentreCharge 5, then you may have them. You may have the license agreements come through as an old agreement, or a license agreement that's gone past its end date and therefore could miss out on billing or anything like that. So you do need to make sure that the license agreement start and expiry dates that you enter in your current system are correct. So it determines your licenses within the new module in the latest version of the system. Also ticking those items, the rent items, the virtual items, and your deposit item, you can see here you've got 3 tabs within this one activated license. So rather than having a separate order for your rent and contract services in the old system, in the new system you have everything stored. You can have everything stored under one license agreement. If we go into rent, you can see we've got a suite in there. So the system will read any items that are ticked as a suite that have any orders within CentreCharge 5. They will go into the rent tab of the license agreement. Okay, and then the virtual services, as long as they're ticked as a virtual service, they will then go into the virtual services tab of the license agreement, and then any other items that aren't ticked as a rent item or a virtual item will then go in as a service. So if, for example, you didn't tick a virtual item as a virtual, but it in fact was, then it could possibly go into the service item, which isn't ideal, and you really want them in the correct sections of the agreement. So do please make sure that you tick those correctly, and you go through every item to make sure that they're all set up correctly. Has anybody got any questions for me on anything so far? If you do, please raise your hand. No questions? Okay. So no questions at all. If you do, raise your hand or type a question in the question box. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, that's fine. Just a couple of things. I'll just run through a couple of the major differences within the new system and your current version of CentreCharge. Obviously, the whole order process has been replaced by this licensing module, which is a lot easier and, to say, user-friendly for you to be able to manage your renewals, your terminations. There's no check-in, no check-out anymore, no deal done. What you can do is you can just, depending on, if you use leads from the brokers or anything like that, what you can do is there's what we call a new license function, which basically, if you click on that, it loads like the first step of the whole licensing module, where you can fill out all the details of the potential client, the start and end dates, things like that. You've got your addresses that you can fill out here, and you simply just add a room or a service or whatever into their license agreement. You then preview the agreement from where you can send out all the documentation that you want it by email or to the printer, and then you can simply activate it from there. So there's, like I say, there's no sort of going through the deal done or the check-in process. It's just a 3-stage creation of license agreements. And then once a license agreement is activated, it will look like this, and then from here you can manage sort of any renewals. So very easy to just click on here to do a renewal. You can manage your transfers more efficiently, so any clients moving from one room to another or from site to site or anything like that, you can click on that option, and then again a very straightforward of creating the license and sending it to your clients. You can also, if it's a rolling contract, you have the ability in the new system to extend the agreement, which if you were to click on this function, you can just move all the end dates sort of to 12 months time, so you've got another review date of their pricing or anything like that. You can use the extend function. And we've also got a give notice and a termination function. So when a client gives you notice, you can use this option here, which will change the status of the license to let you know that we've activated given notice, so that the client has actually given notice on their agreement and is intending to move out. And then terminate is obviously when the client, on the day that the client is moving out, we suggest that you terminate the license, which will kill it, which will leave it in the system, so it won't, you don't need to delete it or anything like that. We'll keep it for historical purposes, but it's just no longer live and billing. It's just on the system for information only. Any questions? No. Okay. I don't know how many of you have actually had sort of a demo of the new system or anything like that, but if you are interested in upgrading into this latest version and getting all the benefits of that licensing module, then what you can do, if you want a demo and sort of get us some idea on pricing and things like that, then what you do, if you'd like to go ahead with that, if you can email support@RJ-Metis, what we can do is we can arrange a demo for you, so we can explain in more detail the differences between this system and your current version, and then we can discuss your needs for the new system and the pricing. Normally, what we recommend is the upgrade itself. So the actual upgrade from the old system to the new system is completely free of charge. So we don't charge you to actually carry out the upgrade or the actual new version of the software. What we do recommend is that you do have training. So what would happen is we'd come out to you and take you through the differences between the version you're running at the moment and the new system. So we can discuss your needs if you want to have a demo. But training is the only charge for the upgrade, so there would be a charge for that, but the upgrade itself is free. If you do want a demo of the new system, then please do send us an email and we can get that scheduled in for you. Another point just to be aware of is that we do recommend that if you are really wanting to upgrade to the new system, that you do your upgrade after a bill run. So you'll do your last bill run within your current system, and we'd upgrade your system in between, just after your bill run. So then you'd be able to get used to the new system, enter any sort of back sheets, charge sheets, and everything like that, ready in time to do your sort of next month's bill run in the new system. So then it gives you a bit of time to get used to the new system before you carried out a bill run. So that's just a point. So if you are thinking of upgrading and you want to do it quite soon, it's just one of the points to bear in mind of the upgrade. Any questions at all for me today? No? Okay, that's fine. Like I say, this video is available for you to watch via YouTube. So if you type in CentreCharge in YouTube, then you should get a list of all of our current videos and webinars and things like that. So you'll be able to watch this again should you need to. Any questions that you think of after we finish today, please email those to support@rjmetis.com and we'll answer any questions that you have. So last chance to ask me anything now. Okay, no questions? Okay, brilliant. So thank you for taking the time to attend this webinar today. I hope you found it helpful, and please feel free to contact us with any questions that you have or if you'd like us to schedule a demo. Thank you.